Hello, everybody. This is Jamie from Blood, Sweat and Metal. We have another outstanding guest to join us. We're talking to Fleshgod Apocalypse, frontman, guitarist Tommaso Riccard. They brought out a new album called King. It continuates this dynamic story as Labyrinth has and whatnot, but this is tells the story of King, how everyone has a king that can rise up, take the leader control, and just be on top of the leadership role. We talk about how all these different elements, from the orchestrators to the drums to the guitar riff and also to the songwriting, how many challenges that Tommaso had writing this album. It was a much bigger challenge that he had ever done with a Fleshgod Apocalypse. And also, it goes to show how dynamic this band has risen since 2007 to now. This album, King, could also mean a different realm for them, because this could bring in a new genre of fans to come on board, and also the music can translate itself into the future as well. How this black, dark death metal with the orchestrative elements in it can extend into the realm of the future of the music world. Many fans have jumped on board to listen to death metal, black metal, whatever you want to call it. But Fleshgod Apocalypse are on the rise and rise and rise as each album has been released. King is no different. This is an outstanding album. Please go and grab this album at all your participating outlets around Australia and around the world. Please go to their website. You can check them out as well. And also, just grab this album. I am really, really amazed by how much work and effort all came into this one to be probably the best Fleshgod Apocalypse album they ever recorded in their career. So sit back, relax. We've got about a 25-minute interview with Tommaso, how we talk about all the elements and everything about this new album called King. And also, without anything that I may miss, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please also come and like us on Facebook, Twitter, Podomatic, iTunes, TuneIn. And as a matter of fact, I've got so many new material that I am going to pump out very, very shortly. It has been recorded. It's going to come out very, very shortly in the next 24, 48 hours. We've got so many new releases tomorrow as well here in Australia that coming out. Dream Theatre is going to be releasing an album, and a few other bands, and I cannot wait to share them all with you and my intake of my reviews on those albums. As a matter of fact, I've received another 12 albums as a promo that I need to listen to over the weekend and write up. But it doesn't stop at 12. I've got many others that I haven't got around to due to me being busy in my personal life and what have you. But they are getting there. I've got a whole list I've got to do, and I'm going to pump them out as quickly as I can. But once again, thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for cheering me on and getting behind me and rallying me on to do what I love doing best, is give you these type of interviews as well. But more importantly, say thank you for allowing me to do what I love as well. All right, here's Fleshgod Apocalypse, and I'll come back and I will give you another episode. I've recorded an episode with Bortnego a couple of nights ago. That has been put in the can. It's going to be released very, very shortly after this one. So stick around with that. But more importantly, let's welcome Tommaso and Fleshgod Apocalypse to Blood, Sweat and Metal. Catch you later. Hello, folks. This is Jamie from Blood, Sweat and Metal. I have an outstanding guest joining me this evening. It's Fleshgod Apocalypse guitarist and frontman Tommaso Good evening from Australia, and thank you for joining me.
Hey, thank you very much. My pleasure.
We are going to talk about the new album, King, and I have heard it, and it's absolutely outstanding. But I want to go into the craft of the album. You had a very stressful time writing this album. You'd like to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's it's always a pretty let's say stressful time, but also in a good way because we are super meticulous and very picky on things. So that has obviously a bright side and a dark side. So the dark side is that it is stressful, but the bright side is that I think the result is good. So I mean, we're happy about what we're doing, and that is pretty natural for us because we actually spent 9 months for the composition and arrangement, but that happens because there is a lot of stuff going on in our music, so we just try to follow inspiration, and then once you have the ideas for the songs, then it's all a matter of working on the arrangement and the structure of the album itself, and that's what makes it such a long process because from a good riff or a good idea or melodic line to a good song, what is in the middle is the arrangement, and that's a very technical side of the composition, and you just have to listen to the music requests. So sometimes you cannot just decide how much time and how much effort you have to put in that, because you just have to keep experimenting and try to find solutions until you don't have the feeling that everything is in the right place.
What I like about King is that the components of the composure of all the instruments on here. You've got the orchestrated theme in there, you've got your guitar riff, you've got your drum riff. But the thing is, when you create a song, it might start off with a guitar riff, but with other songs, it might start off with the orchestrated theme behind it. How did that came about for you guys? Because you guys always look outside the box. You don't just fix on, all right, let's pick up a song from a guitar riff or let's pick up a song from a drum riff. You actually go outside the box a bit and to reinvent yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, first of all, I think it is a matter of having in mind the big picture, and from for which regards the music, as you know, Francesco Paoli is actually the artistic director of Fleshgod Apocalypse. So that means that usually when he starts thinking about the music for a new album, of course he always has a certain idea of how the whole thing should be, and also of the different moments and dynamics that should be in the album, more or less. Then, from that idea, inspiration, of course, makes its course, and so different things come up. But if you already have in mind how you want the whole thing to be, then it's a matter of getting more and more into the details and try to channel that inspiration in the proper way. Because of course, even if something comes out, for example, from a guitar riff, but you know how Fleshgod music sounds, and we know obviously the characteristics and the mechanisms that are behind our music. So even if starting from a guitar riff or from a orchestral theme, we always have in mind how our music in general sounds. So I mean, that what allows you to always put all the things together and never have something that is maybe too different from something else, or getting lost into the composition, because the main picture is always there even when working on the single elements.
Because with songs like Gravity, that actually started with a riff, while songs with a song like In Adenum, I think it is, you could pronounce that kicked off with an orchestrated motif. But then you go to a song on the album like the Fool, that was informed by both the classical and the death metal. So you got all those elements and all those composers going right around the whole album, and it really, really is fascinating how you guys can translate what you can get from all those different elements on the album.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, that's really at this point it is something that we've been experimenting for a long time now, and it's just getting more natural. And even if we spend so much time on the arrangements of the music, but still it is very organic. And I guess differently from the beginning, where we obviously were still asking ourselves how to put some things together. Now the more we go on and the more we know certain mechanisms and how they work into our music. So it is the good thing is that if you have ideas, you already know how to contextualize those ideas into our sound, and it comes more and more natural to combine all those elements or whatever is the inspiration at the beginning.
Mm. As with Labyrinth, the album, King also focused first on the melding of their influence, and then secondly, the writing the songs that would immediately recognize, yet have a wider and deeper cinematic scope. Because every album that you guys had released is always built from the previous album. Has that always been the chemistry for Fleshgod Apocalypse going into the studio, that you want to build the new album on a previous album before?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, of course, it's there is always a gradual process. So I mean, it is pretty natural to be influenced also by your previous music, and try to start from that, and do and try to guess which one can be the next step. And of course, this is also connected to also the music that you listen to and the inspiration that you get from different things. But we always hit go and start with the composition, with a pretty clear idea of what we want to do, because that's the most important thing. Inspiration is something great, and it's really natural, but if you know how to channel it, because if you don't have a structure in which you can put that, then it's very easy to get lost. So it is very important for us, especially, to start with an idea, to know which kind of thing we want to do, which kind of album we want to pull out. In this case, we really had the intention of building an album that could contain all the elements and the previous elements of Fleshgod Apocalypse, but also bring out new aspects of our music and experiment on that. And also having an album that, even if still multi-layered, so you can keep listening to it and discover every time new details and stuff that you didn't notice before, but in the meantime also having a lot of in the face riffing, and something that could really hit from the first listen. So I mean, we were looking for the balance between these two aspects of our music, and so that was the idea. Also because the concept and the lyrical concept is always really important for us, and the whole idea that is behind the album really influences the music. So I really think that every album reflects also the issues that we're trying to talk about. And in this case, in the case of King, actually you got one of the darkest albums we put out, and some of the most cutting riffing that we ever put out, because actually the story and the whole concept behind it is really inspiring in that direction.
Well, Fleshgod Apocalypse are no strangers to concept albums. With Agony, that album was all about the waves of our painful feelings that led us to be painful and hurt, like violent and hurt. With Mafia, that album was about the Italian mafia, how they used fear to control the weak, and penetrate the dominant of the populace. Labyrinth was centered on the labyrinth of Knossos. But King, in your interpretation, how would you explain to the fans about the story behind the King, the album?
Well, as usual, as we usually do, it's always, of course, a metaphoric story, because we always like to bring things on two levels. Like, it was the same for Labyrinth. I mean, that album was, of course, about the story of Theseus and Labyrinth of Knossos, but in the meantime, it was a way to try to go into a very personal story that I think regards everyone. That is how to face your own fears and how to overcome those fears, because that's what philosophers and writers have been writing for thousands of years now, and there is a reason why, because it is something that regards everyone. For which regards King, I think it is the first time that we took inspiration not only from the human itself, but also from the way society and the world that surrounds us is behaving now. What I mean is, I really think that cyclically in history, there are moments of growth and moments of crisis. And it's pretty hard to deny that we are living in a moment of crisis. That is pretty natural, philosophically talking, I believe, because it's really cyclical. You cannot stop that process. So in this moment in particular, we have so many different cultures that are mixing up, and different situations that really make things very delicate. And usually when that happens, one of the reactions that we have is obviously fear. And with fear, sometimes it is very easy to get lost, to forget about which are the important things. And when I say important things, I mean the concrete, the simple things in life that really matter. So this king is someone who is aware of which are these important things. He believes in justice. He believes in integrity. He believes in the ability to take the responsibility to do the right thing, the best thing possible. That is not perfection, of course, because having big responsibilities also means, having a lot of power and having to decide for others. But of course, he believes that he can do the best possible. In the meantime, all the other characters are people who got lost. So they're greedy, they're jealous, they're also evil in some way, and they're trying to control him and to manipulate him and to take his power down because of all these feelings that they have. This is a metaphor with all the reflection that our behaviors and feelings have on our whole society and the behavior of the whole culture we live in. So I mean, today it is really obvious that we have a lot of superficial things out there, and people is slowly getting addicted to those superficial things, and they're easily forgetting which are these more concrete and important things. But in the meantime, I think that everyone is a drop in the ocean. So everyone has actually this king inside, someone who knows what is the right thing, who is aware of what is responsibility. So we should just all be able to choose for that part of ourselves to be the drop in the ocean and try to remember what is important.
Well, listen back to the album as yourself. Do you think this is the most powerful album that Fleshgod Apocalypse ever recorded, and also this is the best music, lyric content that you ever written for yourself?
I know that I'm supposed to say this, but yeah, I totally do. I have to be honest, because of course we really love whatever we did until now, and I think that in every album there are so many great things. Sometimes musically talking, some things got lost also because we were really looking for the proper sound, and sometimes we maybe didn't get the best result possible. So I believe that some of the music that we put out could be also better if we had the chance to have also better production. But we've been improving throughout time, and this is a very natural and normal process. But I think that in King, many things happened at the same time, because I think we reached a sort of maturity in the composition and arrangement that allowed us to put the things in the proper way and also have the right dynamics in the album, because dynamics are so important in our music, especially where there are continuously different moments in which maybe the orchestra is taking over and all the music is opening, and then there's like very hard in the face riffing the moment after. So you really have to work on the dynamics to make it work, and we obviously got more skilled into arranging and composing things in that way. And also, I really think that regarding the songs, there are really some of the most memorable things that we put out until now. And on the other hand, the production itself was really, really important, because we got the chance for the first time to do experimentations and also work with other people. So we've been working with Stefano as we did before for the pre-production at the 16 Cellar Studios, but then we also had the chance to record in a different studio, because we felt it was time to try also different things. And Marco Mastrobuono at Kick Studios in Rome has been majestic in the recordings. And the mixing and mastering with Jens Bogren was obviously like the perfect ending for that, because he is really a producer, someone who knows how also to interpret music sound wise. So it has been very important to work with him and discuss every single detail to bring the music out in the way we want it to. And I think we managed that. So, I mean, I totally believe that this is the most powerful thing we put out, just because the composition is better and the sound is better.
Well, with all the bands that I speak to on this show, Blood, Sweat and Metal, the name Jens Bogren just keep popping up. He must have such a massive resume of work, because nearly every band that he has worked with or mastered with, the sound quality and the quality of the product that came out afterwards is top notch. It's one of the finest pieces of work that you ever hear in today's music. And all praise to Jens Bogren, because he is creating such a dynamic sound with every single band that he has worked with.
Yeah, totally. But that's what I mean. He is not just a very good sound engineer, but the difference is that Jens is a producer. So that means that his artistic interpretation while working on the sound is extremely important, because he is someone who really looks at the music in a very technical but also inspiring way. So when working on the music, he doesn't just take care about putting the instruments on the right frequencies, but he really takes care about working on the music in a dynamic way and try to get out the character of the band. So, I mean, that's why, we've been discussing on every little element and also going through every little detail. But, since the first communication we had with him, it was immediately clear that he had a very detailed idea of what he wanted to get out from the music and what we wanted to get out from the music. So I think that's the secret. I mean, he is really someone who doesn't just stop on the surface, but he goes deep into the music and try to understand how this music should, work, and how the instruments should work together to get that result. So yeah, I think he's for sure one of the best out there right now, and that's why we choose him, because we really believe that he could be the right person to take our sound to the next level, and I totally think it happened.
Yeah. Well, with putting all the efforts into King, where would you like to see that genre of music go in the future?
it is really hard to say because I don't know. There's so many things happening, so much music out there. I mean, and now it is really, really unpredictable. For which regards Fleshgod Apocalypse, you know, we will always try to keep this approach to be continuously connected with the past, but also always projected towards the future and trying to be as much natural as possible into following our flow, because I believe that the evolution of one band really works well if there is a obviously serious approach to every single thing, but also the ability to follow curiosity and not being too much afraid of what you're gonna do. Because I mean, if you are convinced, then everybody's gonna be, So I mean, we just try to really follow curiosity and just don't think too much about what we should do, but try to see what we want to do.
Well, 2016 is now here. What's the plan for Fleshgod Apocalypse? Many festivals overseas in your summer that you're attending to. Is there any possibility of seeing Fleshgod Apocalypse down in Australia on the back of King, the album?
Yeah, of course. We already have a lot of plans, and we're obviously working on the whole promotion of the album, and also that means also working on different tours in different parts of the world. But our very first experience in Australia has been really amazing, and we had a great time and great shows, in my opinion. And I see that our fan base in Australia is growing incredibly, and there's a lot of requests for Fleshgod Apocalypse. So I mean, it is totally for sure that we're gonna come back during the promotion of King. It's just a matter of when, because we have so many things going on, and sometimes it's just a matter of trying to understand which moves we have to do and when. But you can bet that you will see Fleshgod Apocalypse in the next future.
Well, with Fleshgod Apocalypse album King, please go and grab it. I have listened to it many times over, and it just hypnotised me. If I'm stressful, it will take me on a different journey. But most of the time when I listen to music, I'm already pumped up. I'm already excited to listen to it. And King is just another chapter of the legacy of Fleshgod Apocalypse, because from my intake of the album, probably one of the best albums you guys have recorded to date. I mean, you guys started in 2007 with the way that you have gone on from strength to strength to strength. You guys must be getting a lot of feedback and a lot of requests to come over to their country to play, because you guys are just phenomenal right now.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, there's one last thing you'd like to say to the fans to Australia, Tommaso. What would you like to say to them?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, because of course we do music and we play music, but it's all a matter of how the people react to the music and how's the communication between the band and the music. So I mean, I'm really happy to see that there's so many people supporting us, and I'm really happy to see that we have the ability to make some people out there happy. So that's the best thing. And what else I can say? Expect always surprises from Fleshgod Apocalypse.
Yes, and I cannot wait for more surprises as well. Well, Tom, I need to say thank you for allowing me to interview you. It's all the time we got because you got other commitments and you are one busy bloke right now. But thank you so much for joining me, and I'll look forward to catching up with you very shortly in the near future.
That's great. Sounds good. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.